Extra dark. And I snug the fortune cookies.
Okay.
You're the best. Oh. It's real nice.
What are these zings?
They're coconut chips.
Oh, coconut chips.
Yep. They're not sweet, they're salty. They're not that salty. Lightly salty.
Oh, yeah. That's nice. Plenty of coconut fat in them.
So do you think all the cars are for the event that you were talking about over there?
Yeah. Fucking spiritual people over there having a blast.
I didn't think it would be that many people.
Oh.
For that.
Oh. No, you gotta go over there.
I guess.
I want to see what's happening.
I might need to. What time did it start?
Oh, it's well underway.
That means we might be able to sneak in under the radar.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm just dying for some spiritual shit.
No.
Been a long time. All righty.
Will Kirk's been inviting me to come by on Tuesdays.
Who is?
Will Kirk?
Who's Will Kirk?
Oh, yeah? To go meditate over
To
there?
be part of the Sangha before it changed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the
That will
Tuesday
go
meditation thing, yeah.
Yeah.
So
All
what
right.
is he doing a meditation thing
Well,
someplace
Dave
else?
DePasquale apparently is trying to get back to the old format or resurrect the Pebble Sangha.
Oh,
Mm.
He has been doing a meditation, right? Hasn't he?
Well, they're doing it here.
I guess.
I thought he was doing it for a year now or something.
Yeah, but wasn't that on like Thursday or something?
they moved it to
Tuesday.
Tuesday so that he didn't have to compete with that.
What
Mm.
is that?
That's where actually spiritual things happen.
Really spiritual things.
What's happening?
Every Thursday, that's happening.
What's it called?
Heart something.
Is it Course in Miracles? or-
No?
Wasn't there were other funky things in the name?
Yeah. But they got like crystals
Singing bowls.
and singing bowls.
Oh, that's nice.
They're pulling a crowd, man.
Yeah.
Those are nice.
Yeah,
Hmm.
They sound good.
they do.
I have a bunch of Tibetan singing bowls. I can bring them. We can do our own thing.
Well, if it will,
Yeah.
improve the,
Ooh,
if it'll improve the
wouldn't mind
Yeah.
a bone nap.
The Night Sky Sangha experience.
I can bring
At this
instruments.
point, we're open to anything.
You're on a cocoa root?
No, thank you.
Okay.
Those are good. Though.
Yeah, I could bring some stuff.
Unicorns. I'd like to get some stuffed unicorns in here.
Okay.
You know,
Is that a horn? This guy.
Mm-hmm. I could strap a horn on his head.
Should we bring in that? Is that stuffed animal guy from the Frozen TV, the Frozen movie? The little ant.
the snowman.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, he's popular. He's a draw.
He's got no problem with melting and coming back into existence.
That's quite a skill.
Hmm.
Oh, here I am. Yeah.
Hmm.
What's his name?
What is his name? He was famous.
Yeah.
Chatting with Suzanne the other day, and we were just marveling over the lack of real oomph to go pursuing any spiritual anything.
Yeah.
And she's like, you might as well just go learn to play mahjong or something.
Yeah. Pinochle.
Is that a unicorn
Where?
peering over your
Yeah,
shoulder? It
right.
is a unicorn.
Yeah, we just
It's a
manifested that.
It's
Oh
a
my
puppet.
God. Give it a try. Bless you. You have stuff going on.
Welcome to the Night Sky Sangha. This evening's program will have you thinking a lot about yourself, your relationship with higher being, and the discovery of spirit guides that you didn't even know you had. That other guy, well, he's been fired. So from here on out, it's going to be fast lane to spirit.
Olaf.
Olaf. There you go.
What you get?
We all have a lot more in common than it seems.
Whoa.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
Wow. We're all not human. That's the deal. More than it seems. I don't know fat in these to make them yummy.
Mhm. It's good fat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hmm.
So, all unicorns aside,
No.
the there's a puzzle. You could think of consciousness and its endless craving
Endless craving? Hmm.
as a puzzle. So there are four things we're going to be talking about. The first one is referred to as is. And the second one is what's referred to as making sense. Third thing is I am. And the fourth is grappling with grappling. That's tonight's map of the universe.
Is making sense, I am, and grappling with grappling.
Yeah.
We're going to go over them in order?
Yeah, or skip around. Yeah.
Okay.
So, is as the shorthand for the irrefutability of experiencing.
It just is. Is a good word for it.
Is.
Isness, is a Runa Rodeo, is a Rama,
That's right.
is.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
right. Izzy, isness.
Fuck you.
I sneeze, therefore I is.
Might have a coconut allergy there.
If I were snorting them, I think so. but-
Mm. So it's, useful to really, be an Orloff bubblehead when it comes to is. Now you could say the fruition of inquiry, however that's showing up, returns one to the sneezing simplicity of,
Sorry.
quite all right, is.
What returns one to it?
Inquiry,
Okay.
engagement, right?
Paying attention to it.
Paying attention.
Affection.
Yeah, all those. Yeah. So the dilemma for, a creature, right? And the creature is one sense of, let's call it body, mind, in space, time. That's the creature. How does is convince itself of being I am?
Yeah, how does that happen?
Yeah,
We talk about enculturation. We talk about, you're told that as a child.
right.
You get it in the water,
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah. So is, has no, well, it has no vector. It has no problem. It has no, agenda, no genesis, no story. But for the, you can say, average unicorn, is taken to be I am. And the I am is, you could say, synonymous with the arising of the sense of creature or individuation. Body, mind, space, time. Because is left to its own devices. Is not,
It doesn't say anything about what it is.
it's not saying anything about itself or, or about you as, and you could say as a captive audience to is. So the, you could say one of the more essential questions that one can make is, by what curious means does is hearken unto itself as I am? Well, the mechanism is making sense. Is can do only one thing, and that's to try to make sense of itself. By making sense of itself, fundamental irrefutability of experiencing becomes anthropomorphized. Because one's sense of self is not the byproduct of body, mind, space, time. Those are after. Body, mind, space, time is an afterthought of, I'm suggesting, a more primal enzymatic mechanism, which is the way in which is convinces itself, imbues itself with I am. So the creature is after this curious juxtaposition I'm referring to. So making sense is subtler than what we would refer to as creating content or context in mind through language, metaphor, interpretive engagement, and wanting to place names on things. So there's two levels of making sense. One is what appears that the creature is doing to construct a context for is. But when the creature is attempting to create a context for is, the creature is doing so as I am. You see, you already have to be extruded as an I am to have any agency whatsoever, which points to this subtler aspect of making sense. Is becomes I am through a very subtle, call it mechanism or non-mechanism of making sense. The is has taken on the mantle of disparate individuation. As is like, what am I? Appreciating that there's this primal and impersonal making sense, urgency of making sense, which converts is the naked nature of being into I am. Now what am I going to do about myself? And it's that I am that suggests body, mind, and space-time. You have to have some kind of I am before you're capable of associating with or identifying with body, mind, and space-time as a context for individuated corporeal being. Grappling with grappling is everything that comes after, is the world. And my so-called relationship with the world as a creature. As an I am now wearing a mantle of creature, body, mind, space, time. So body, mind, space, time is so deeply confused by its, by its involuntary animation as self, that all it can do is grapple with grappling, which is simply to become lost in the fantasy of a manifest world in which you're operating as a creature at risk. So when you roll the camera back, you take the film and you just go back nice and slow. You can see that, oh shit, my whole mindset, the whole imagination of my life, happily or unhappily lived, is simply grappling with grappling. You're just lost in a never-ending iterative field of implication and metaphor. So all you can really do with yourself is confuse yourself further. Because you're just living in of content, fantasy of content. That's grappling with grappling. That's where all the, you could say that's where all the suffering is. That's where the karma is. That's where the, trials and tribulations and ecstasies of the world express themselves. Grappling with grappling. A mind that is just inebriated with its own content. Can't get any rest from its own content. It's just compulsively content driven. Every mood you have, or at least the way that you feel about or think about, and think about how you feel and feel about how you think, is just grappling with grappling. And as dear Gautama suggested, this doesn't last. You can notice how grappling with grappling has brought you a never-ending cinematic demonstration of the myth of yourself. But it hasn't become anything other than grappling with grappling. Just this endless stream of content. As you could say, the so-called body gets older. Now, if you look at the, grappling with grappling, you can see that it's unsatisfactory, that there's dukkha. You can see that it suffers from anicca, anatta, and dukkha, namely that nothing lasts. Grappling with grappling is just a never-ending stream of moods and associations and justifications and shit that's hurt you and shit that you've felt good about, and the constant rehash of who you think you are, all occurring in imagination. So nothing lasts. The other aspect Buddha suggested was dukkha, that it's unsatisfactory. Grappling with grappling is not satisfying. It never goes anywhere. It never becomes anything. It never resolves itself. It never gets any better. You could almost argue it never gets any worse. But if one is trying to find some kind of, inhabit some kind of lasting satisfaction or become sated within the field of grappling with grappling, good luck. You never will. No matter how much money you make or how exotic a car collection you've managed to put together in a warehouse. So grappling with grappling is, it turns out, a fascinating cinematic presentation, but that's all it is. It's a fascinating cinematic presentation, which never becomes anything.
That whole expression seems to assume that there's someone there to be grappling with grappling.
Well, that's right. You see, that's is having animated it as I am. Now the I am suggests body, mind, space-time, and body, mind, space-time grapples with grappling. And grappling with grappling is punctuated by anicca, anatta, and dukkha, namely, doesn't last, unsatisfactory, and not self. So when we live a life inebriated by grappling with grappling, that's just the never-ending streaming content of the imagination of myself. What has happened to me, what is happening to me, what's going to happen to me, and all the things that I'm going to do to control the outcome. Pray, supplicate, genocide, whatever it takes to control the outcome. But there is no outcome because you never escape from grappling with grappling. It never becomes satisfying. You can't win. Being lost in the labyrinthine nature of grappling with grappling. So it's the perfect entrapment. Mythical, but still. It's the perfect entrapment. You remain under the influence of we're reducing the whole expressive nature of human consciousness as grappling with grappling, which is useful in that it's so easy to get lost in the content of oneself and everything that you think is right and wrong with you and what should or shouldn't happen to you. Once you see that that's all grappling with grappling, you're like, oh, then maybe your, call it intelligence, can learn how to wean itself from the inebriation of grappling with grappling, namely the field of not lasting, unsatisfactory, and not self. So you have to get closer, more intimate with what we're referring to as the curious way in which is takes on the mantle of I am. You have to go behind grappling with grappling as a symptom field, and you have to go behind body, mind, space, time as the so-called evidence of your individuated nature. And really look to whatever that means, because it's too, there it's really, it gets strange in here. I don't know what the fuck look means, but look anyway. As you go behind the symptom field of grappling with grappling, and you're just, even for a few minutes, just fucking done with yourself. You don't need to resolve anything, fix anything, be right, be wrong, have a spiritual experience. Really. Consciousness can just, fuck off. Because grappling with grappling is not doing it for you. It's not bringing home the tofurkey. Then you start to see, well, okay, cool. I can put grappling with grappling on a shelf. The whole content of myself. I don't have to resolve a fucking thing, explain a fucking thing, make anything work out at all. Really, at all. This is just, oh my God. It's a fucking nonsense field. And I'm therefore released from it in terms of its importance, viability, or the urgency that I might have to resolve something in that field. Just shelve it. But you're still here. Even though you've been successful, even imaginarily, at dropping grappling with grappling, well, you're not quite done, but you might for a few minutes, if not the rest of a lifetime, like, I just don't fuck with myself anymore. Because grappling with grappling blows. And I've seen deeply enough into it that, though I haven't put a stop to it, I'm just not interested enough in myself to take this horse feathers seriously enough to give it any attention. That in itself is a profound, call it yogic adventure. But you're still here, whatever that might suggest. And you may still think of yourself, namely the irrefutability of experiencing, you may still think of as body, mind, space-time. I'm a body. I'm in a location. It's a certain time of day. The mind is the mind. I can't turn experiencing on and off. And so there's an association. We're just talking about dematerializing, deconstructing various levels of association. The most, call it, gross, is grappling with grappling, which is the content of the imagination of my life. You're like, psh, psh, I'll see you. Then what's the next level down as you go back? Well, for fun, I'm saying body, mind, space-time. because one is still, very fond, even if involuntarily so, with I am, with individuation as a creature. But you're not a creature. The raw material of is the freedom, the call it the vacuity, the emptiness of is. I would say you're as much that, if not more that, than being a creature. A creature is already the result of an interpretive, powerful, call it intoxicating interpretive movement. So you put grappling on the shelf, and then you start to relax from the unsought identity with being a creature as space-time, body-mind. But you're still here. So the next level of, let's say dismantling the myth of yourself as being, individuated, temporally, spatially, corporeally individuated is, well, let's just call it I am. We're looking at, basically we're taking our clothes off, or taking our cloaks off, peeling away these very curious layers of identity to see what remains. Now that's a very different direction to engage your consciousness in, because most of the time we are inebriated with grappling. The fantasy of myself living a life in time. And that's where most, call them creatures, occupy or live their lives in abstraction. Maximizing, call it sense pleasure, or security, or the comforts of, what we call body. So as it peels away, as the cloaks peel away, okay, well, I'm not messing with myself. That's just bullshit. I've been doing that way the fuck long enough. I see that there's no end to it. It never was anything. It never becomes anything. I am not going to resolve the myth of myself within an imaginary context, which is the myth of myself. Not going to happen. So you're peeling back. Body, mind, space, time can be seen. Again, seeing is a curious word. I mean, it has a deeper implication. But before you have attenuated to body, mind, space, time, can't we say there's a subtler insistence, emergent, unbroken insistence, irrefutability of the presence of being?
Is.
Yeah, right? See, you can look and go, whoa, body, mind, space, time is just an interpretive orientation to something that is more subtle than body, mind, space, time.
Well, just more fundamental.
More
It's not
fun.
very subtle sometimes.
Well, that's, yeah.
It's pretty loud. That's all it is.
The way that it, speaks to you is the way that it speaks to you. How, the presentation of is, I am, body, mind, space, time, grappling with grappling, and the magical glue of making sense are, each one of those as shorthands for something that's utterly fantastic can go in any old direction. Each one of those can suggest, fractal upon fractal of, weird presentation. But if we get into, let's say, too much symptom of perception becomes grappling with grappling. See, that's why grappling with grappling is so good. It's so easy to, let's say, fall into, to tumble into the abyss of grappling with grappling, because making sense is lit. What I'm referring to as making sense is the sheer force of conceiving, of differentiation, a discernment, preference, language. The sheer force of conceiving is so potent, it's so intoxicating, that it will suck you into grappling with grappling like Faster Than Chutes and Ladders.
By conceiving, you mean erecting an interpretive framework,
That's right.
saying, I know what is.
Yes. Yep.
Is.
Yeah. See what happens? So you look at this potency of, call it consciousness itself, erecting, manufacturing, conjuring, interpretive framework through contrast, comparison, metaphor, language, assignment, all of which is occurring absolutely effortlessly without burning a single calorie. And that conceiving occurs. I would say that conceiving, that's why I'm referring to making sense. That conceiving is the process of making sense. Conceiving means to apply, right?
Conceptualization.
Conceptualism, knowledge, reference, metaphor, teaching, physics, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Yeah, that's conceiving. That's making sense. That's the reflex, the magical reflex of making sense. And it's important to see at least two levels of making sense. One is the symptomatic level, which leads you into grappling with grappling. The other is way more subtle, which is what converts is into I am. That's the one to see. That's the one to get to. That's the encounter. You want to keep going through the doors of the temple. You got to find the key or the combo or kill whatever fucking beasts might be standing in front of those doors. Take them out so that you can keep going through the doors to discover the immutability of is on its terms, which is no longer a human vocabulary. And when it gets really good, is emptiness itself. Which leaves you into kind of a curious non-position, which is face to face with emptiness itself, completely released from both levels of making sense. And it's the more subtle level of making sense. That's where your attention needs to go. That's a level of intimacy that attention needs to be able to see. The primal, call it original, implication of conceiving, which imbues is with I am. Now, it's a deep door. Using the temple model, it's a deep door. It's It might actually be a sanctum that you stumble upon that's no longer in the temple. And yet you had to pass through the temple to find it. Once you've found it, through the metaphor of going through the temple, then you see that it's everywhere. So the shamanic process of consciousness just fucking leveling you is a metaphor for this reduction sauce. Peeling off the cloaks of express identification. Peeling back from grappling with grappling to body, mind, space, time, which is another symptom of imagined individuation, which symptom is the consequence of I am. Then maybe you rest in some kind of, call it I am that I am. Soham, kosher salami, something, But even I am is just, it's not going to do it for you. You have to pierce the veil of I am. Get through that original subtlety of making sense of a primal conceiving, which makes emptiness think that it's other than itself. So that you become exonerated from all and every possible symptom of identification. So that inner sanctum that may appear as if one is peeling off cloaks or passing through doors in a somewhat material way, through conversation, inquiry, yoga, meditation, suffering, everything you got, right? You're all in. Everything you got. It guides you, nudges you through the temple doors, one sanctum after another, as you weaning yourself from false identification. Like, I'm not satisfied with grappling. Fuck, I've been at that for long enough. That's just fuck, that's nowhere. And shit, body, mind, space, time. What a drag. I'm just done with being pushed around by God knows what, making it appear as if I am an individuated creature.
At rest. It's got to do certain things.
Yeah. You're just like, no, that's bullshit, man. It's bullshit. I'm done with grappling, and I'm sure as fuck done with fucking body, mind, space, time. Fuck off. I'll meet you at the movies. Right? You can still get places. It's fine. But you're done with it. You're done with the presumptive, involuntary pushiness of being a creature. Okay. Thank God for that. It was just getting too warm in here. This whole creature thing. Whoa. It's too much.
Seem to really go away though.
It fades a little bit
Hang on.
as you get done.
See what's happening I'm not denying or suggesting anything other than truth with what you just said, but what's happening is grappling with grappling. You have to have an interpretive field to create a value judgment, even a sincere, spiritual, secular value judgment, right? About what is and what isn't, and its durability, right? Because nothing happened a moment before now. So you can't rely on so-called prior ideation to come up with a reasonable and sincere conclusion about anything, because that's just grappling with grappling. See, peeling back the cloaks, there is no association. There's no identification. There's no reliance on prior experience or prior knowledge at all to tell you something about it.
All interpretive framework that you can apply to what's right here has to come from
Yes.
some thought about the past.
Yes.
Belief from something from the past.
Well, even that there's a past is grappling with grappling.
Mhm.
There is no past. See, you're the victim of conceiving. What I mean by victim is that you can't help it. Conceiving is just, fuck. It just fucking conceives. And in an instant, it looks like there was a past or time, that there's implication associated with this past, with time, with my memory and recollection and life experience, and therefore what the implication of those things are on my so-called, the spiritual journey.
It just shows up.
It just woof, whoosh. Yeah. I mean, it's like magicians, using flash paper. That's all. It's like that. You see, mind is flash paper. There's nothing there. It's all flash paper. Because you can't find a past. You can talk about one. You can maybe, show photographs of yourself at various, ages. Oh, you've got an email trail, of course, everyone does, even Hillary, of course. Right? So it looks like something happened before now, but you can't find it. All that you can find, which is nothing at all, is. Anything felt or thought about is flash paper.
Mhm.
So you see the intimacy that we're talking about as we move through the various sanctums of the temple, the church, wherever, the mosque. You're confronted with emptiness. You're confronted with peering into this, and you're not being rattled by flash paper. You're not body, mind, space, time. You're not a creature. Underneath the creature is I am. Before you're a creature, I am. And you're getting warmer. You're getting warmer. Because I am, thankfully, is less cloaked than the creature as body, mind, space, time, suffering, grappling with grappling, accompanied by anatta, anicca, and dukkha. You're pretty deep in the temple now. That was, bless you. That was, since we were talking about Nisargadatta a little earlier, and I'm no expert on him. No one should be. He was too deliciously wild for anyone to be an expert on anything. But the emphasis made in that body of teaching was, I am, call it that, consciousness, call it that, peering into itself. That was his meditation. That's what his guru told him to do. And he was capable of dutifully following those instructions. But of course, he was at a time in his life where he heard this otherwise blasphemous message, from a guy that sat around in a piece of cotton smoking cigarettes on a stone, right? But he was willing to let it in. And that became, in his case, the vehicle for the cracking of all the cloaks. The cracking of that last cloak, or the last or first cloak, the last one to go, the first one that sets you off on a journey. Depends on which way you're looking, right? You're either looking from symptom back or you're looking from source out. So I am is the first cloak that sets you up, and it's the last cloak to go as you wind your way back from the discontent of a symptom field. You see, all the human beings are running around, grappling with grappling, suffering unknowingly from the diversion of body, mind, space, time, itself a cloak of misapprehension arising from I am. I am itself a cloak arising from nothing at all. Is. If you are somehow relaxed, even for a few moments, from the inertia, from the insatiability and involuntary insistence of making sense, what is this? When you're released from the involuntary pressure of conceiving, of making sense, grappling with grappling is like, you can't find it.
Why would you want to do that?
You wouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
You can't find grappling with grappling when you're released from conceiving. Which is to make some promulgation about yourself and then create an imaginary future in which you're going to be better, more satisfied, more spiritual, less sinful, whatever the fuck. Grappling with grappling is so vast, a field of imagination, that you can't nail it down. It'll tell you any lie it wants from moment to moment, and does, and will. It's like Carlos Castaneda being trapped by the inorganic beings in some fucking dream world as the double. That's grappling with grappling. That's what, human beings suffer from. The entrapment of the apparitional symptoms of conceiving. So when you peel away the symptom field, deconstruct it, you'll be gifted with stretches, short, maybe longer, maybe occasional, maybe more frequent, maybe, but stretches of release from conceiving. You could say enough encounters, even though some people speak additive, cumulative, the poetry is fine. You could say with enough encounters of, call it conscious, we'll call it meta-apprehension, or release from conceiving, will catch up with you. And the insistence of I am will leave you. is takes center stage. Itself is merely a metaphor for, call it, emptiness. Transtemporal communion. And as transtemporal communion gets under your skin, we could say we have a harder time taking ourselves sufficiently seriously to become seduced by I am, by creature as body, mind, space, time, and with the mythical infinite presentation of grappling with grappling. See, once you imagine yourself to be the product of making sense, whether that's the conceptual one that we're familiar with from a worldview, or the much more subtle one, where is has imbued itself, namely you, with the confidence of I am. Once we back off from these, call them organic presentation, making sense, the consequence of making sense. What are you? What is this? What is so-called experiencing if you are not making sense? If you're not being pushed around by conceiving?
Noise is going wild. Pushed around by conceiving. It's an interesting concept. It kind of feels like time is collapsing. Like there's less rumination over the past and less looking into the future.
Yup. Mm-hmm.
And I guess that's just, I don't know, less grappling with grappling.
Less grappling with grappling.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is, I am, was it time, space, body? And grappling with grappling? Those the four?
Yeah. Is, I am, body, mind, space, time,
Oh, there we go.
which is the creature,
Right.
grappling with grappling. And the glue is making sense,
Hmm.
which is the imposition of conceiving.
You gotta be, like in a nutshell, that not making sense is sort of, be as little children. Don't look at is with a preconceived, I know.
Yes, for sure.
It appears on a regular basis that preconceived I know is just full of shit.
Grappling with grappling.
If you start to notice that,
Yeah,
it gives you lots of good hints that you really don't know.
it can.
Because there's a lot of zigzags and turns in the road that, you'd swear it was one way, and then you get you get a little bit of a view of it. It's like, whoa.
The creature has an infinity of justification. And that same infinity of justification, as it's seen, let's say, with, a more crafty eye, also becomes evidence for the dismantling of yourself. The inebriation of conceiving is both entrapping, because the creature just keeps running around in it as the creature. But as one becomes a little more sensitive, you're also released by it. The same thing that was entrapping you is the same body of evidence that releases you from its implication.
Because there isn't anything other than is.
That's one because, if you're Dorothy and her friends, there's a lot of because. Because of the wonderful things he does. To frame it as a, bear with me, mystical chronology or a mystical genesis doesn't make any of that true. It's simply a way of enlivening the presence of attention through self-reflection. Let's just call it a more fundamental self-reflection. Because if we don't wean ourselves from grappling with grappling, then we'll never wake up sufficiently for attention to consider itself in more subtle views.
I don't know if you can wean yourself from it. Either are interested in it or you're not.
It's not so black and white. Look at your own life experience.
Weaning usually implies you want something, so you're going to try to do something about something, and that's more grappling with grappling.
It can be.
But it lets go of you,
It does, possibly. For sure.
If you're lucky, that grip just starts to loosen.
Yeah. And I'm, to be indulgent, one vehicle of countless that this, let's say, lessens its grip, its imposition on you, is that you can explore it texturally, sensually, conversationally, see the implication of how consciousness and mind and I am is operating, what its symptom field is. And by seeing its symptom field with more, can I say, objectivity, then you're less under its sway.
Reminds me of Frank years ago. We went to his house, or he was here, and he was like, he had a garden, and he had pansies there, and he's like, it was in the springtime. He was like, you know, they all came up, they all had their little faces. He's like, I see you, you little fuckers. Oh, it's early on. I remember it's cracking me up. I see you, you little fuckers. Little pansies in the spring.
Right, they're all staring at him.
Yeah, you
He
just
was
start to
like-
notice.
Yeah. Usually we get hung up in the field of grappling with grappling, which is imaginary content. That's the kind of common
As
default.
far as most people ever get.
It's just, that's right. By highlighting through language, through conversation, through whatever, blasphemy this is, you get to pick up hints that are para-human, transhuman, that are no longer reducing the mystical nature of your experience as a consequence of body, mind, space-time. Breaking the yoke of the creature is another big day, for consciousness in search of itself. That's why I'm stringing it out the way I'm stringing it out, as a metaphor of identifications or cloaks that, peeled away, reveal the next cloak. You can't get to, I'm being glib. I'm always glib. You can't get to the cloak of the creature, the myth of the creature, until you've had some relief from grappling with grappling. Otherwise, grappling with grappling has got you to the grave. So that cloak has to be removed. Then you begin to see, oh God, body, mind, space, time? Fuck. Creature? Fuck. You can't get to that kind of, holy shit, the creature is a myth, if you're still embroiled at, a further or deeper symptom. I mean, a more superficial symptom. So you pull back from grappling with grappling. Then you're like, creature, fuck you. This is not a creature. No, this is, I don't know what this is, man, but this is no creature. Then you pull back, you keep pulling back, and then it's like, I am. But you're not done. Because I am is another subtle, mythical expression of emptiness.
I am is as valid as just is.
It can be. I'm suggesting watch out.
They're both valid ways of experiencing this.
Yeah. But valid's not on the court. Valid's not on the...
But this whole discussion is assuming that, one is preferable or more interesting or better. It seems like there's some value judgment here that...
Like I said, I'm introducing this as a kind of a mystical chronology to look at the various implication of cloaks. which is accompanied, no contest, with, call it, an implied value judgment. Yeah. Not necessarily better than. If one is a magician, if one is a shaman, if one is invited into, a coven of, radical self-discovery.
I'm coming a tinfoil hat bearing.
A tinfoil hat wearing coven of radical self-discovery. Yeah. We should probably go to that thing wearing a tinfoil hat. That'd be fucking cool. And everyone gets a unicorn puppet and a tinfoil hat. We're here. Black sneakers and a quarter or a silver dollar or something weird. We'll freak out. Yeah. So if you're broiling in a tinfoil hat wearing coven of self-discovery, then you're already motivated to do some cloak peeling.
Or perhaps you've been naked before and you're just kind of sniffing around looking to shed the
Yes?
heaviness of what you normally wear.
Right. So the heaviness of what you normally wear, as you pointed out, implies a certain kind of preference or value system. It can't help but not to. So any chronology or cloak peeling metaphor is going to be accompanied by,
But there is that everything is this thing. Like what brought me to that was considering, maybe it's some of the urban guru shit that I've been listening to, but also Peter, like one of the big light bulbs that has usually gone on when I hang with him is everything is this, whether it's dumb as a box of hammers or, really getting the isness of it all. It's the same. Like
Yes.
No necessary value judgment on it. It's all this. Like I've talked to Peter about the fuzzy, heavy modes. He's like, or boredom or whatever. He's like, that's one of the major modes. Like sort of the all-inclusiveness of this is one of its charms. Clueless, right along with, I get it. Like peeled off all the cloaks right there. And to think that what's right here in exactly the way it's presenting is anything other than it keeps you always looking.
Well, you see, you're exploring the juxtaposition, as if there were one, of how is suggests that anything can be other than itself. Which is the, let's say, suggestible refusal of, this isn't this isn't is, when is inclusive.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, the wisdom of inclusivity, I would say, is not so easy to come by when you're out grappling with grappling. The wisdom of inclusivity makes natural sense.
The fuel for grappling is this can't be it.
Making sense.
Yeah. Or even, I guess I'm speaking in more like a seeker term. This can't be it, so you go on grappling
Yes.
ad nauseum.
Yes.
You're given, like, it's just, we're streaming here always you can't miss it. And we'll end up just continuing to grapple because this can't be it. That's just like it should can it.
That's why I call it grappling with grappling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When it's just right in front of you.
Yeah.
Cocoa Rune bite-sized super cookies. What more do you want?
You could take them to Pluto.
Just then I could wrap it around it. Swing them across the room.
Well, yeah, you see a certain kind of improvisational freedom starts to, bubble up in your so-called consciousness or experience as there's deepening release from conceiving.
Conceiving of this world in the framework that I normally would.
That's right. That's why I created for fun, for conversation's sake. It just fucking showed up. I didn't create anything. This little chronology, metaphor of how conceiving implies downfield symptoms from the primary inclusivity, which is nothing at all.
Can you say that again,
Sure.
please?
Is a primary inclusivity without other.
Yep.
You could call it a singularity.
Mm-hmm.
You could call it emptiness.
Mm-hmm.
Because even though it's remarkably expressive, it hasn't actually implied anything. So there's no binding.
Clean as a whistle.
Clean as a whistle.
Yep.
Is clean as a whistle.
Yeah.
Then there's the myth of what's downstream from is, namely I am, body, mind, space, time, grappling with grappling, all of which are, you could say, manifested through conceiving.
Birthing yourself into existence right in the middle of is.
Bam! Birthing yourself into separative existence right in the middle of an unbroken inclusivity that has now taken itself to be other than itself.
And now we're back to the value judgment. There's nothing wrong with that.
No, never said.
It seems to be how we all live.
Never said there was.
Yeah.
Never used the word wrong.
We're just curious, investigating, inquiring into that strange phenomenon that happens here.
If one is
Kind of makes
suffering,
the world go round.
and many appear to be from time to time suffering is just another way of saying there's something wrong here.
Yeah.
We've made, or this has made life experience or the interpretation of life experience somehow unsatisfactory, unpalatable, unfair. And I'm not arguing with that. There's a lot wrong here.
Got your pin.
Yeah. Even though I'm a safe space, there's a lot wrong here. But, you can't go next door to where people are actually having meaningful spiritual fun and, say, what are you doing? They're having a blast grappling with grappling and finding, exciting, if not erotic, remedies for it through candles and crystals and skulls and bowls and come on. I got nothing. They're having the most fun.
You can find those everywhere.
You can find those everywhere.
And it doesn't have to be in a, quote, spiritual context.
No.
You can go learn how to play bridge.
You can become an anarchist.
Yeah. Plenty of things to do.
That's right.
And when you set down grappling with grappling in a spiritual sense, it opens up anything as pretty much equal.
Back to inclusivity.
Yeah, like that wouldn't be much more attractive maybe than, I don't know, learning how to
Play the banjo.
Yeah. Equal.
Yeah,
And it actually makes that a little less attractive because it's always got that sticky, we're going to save the world kind of horseshit wrapped around it.
it can. It has, I mean, it has the, the understandable urgency of persons, creatures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least people learning how to play bridge or banjo.
It's practical.
Yeah, they don't tend to have that.
Yeah, doing fucking crystal healing,
Yeah.
you know. God, grow mushrooms, learn how to play the banjo. What's wrong with you? But as you say, since it's all, you know, equal,
It is all.
crystal healing, dolphin dreaming, cultivating psilocybin, playing the banjo. Okay.
You know what though? I tend to like the things that I'm more drawn to usually are the ones where people are like, you know, they're going to save the world with it. Not that I'm walking in thinking I'm going to save the world, but I don't know. I tend to go to those things.
Circles of changing the world, or, you know, they have a certain kind of thrill, a certain kind of tension there.
It's just old stuff. I don't know.
Could be. Yeah. We don't know. We don't know how much of our attraction to the various groups that we get involved with have to do with our attempts to heal, you know, childhood wounds.
Well, marriage will do that.
Marriage will do that. Well, thanks for coming, everyone. It's really been a lot of fun. Now, remember, it all starts with emptiness. Is. Then, for some curious reason, the is, through some magical nature of conceiving, imbues itself with a sense of I am. Holy unicorn, Batman! Then, the I am, presuming that it is body, mind, and space and time, suffers from the never-ending frustration of grappling with grappling. It's incredible, folks. Grappling with grappling is just unbelievable. Now, if you stay with us from time to time here at the Night Sky Sangha, you'll be able to unravel this morass of self-interest, frustration, and irritability and come back to your natural self, as have I. Thanks for joining us this evening, and we'll see you again at a future program. Thank you.